So his father came out and pleaded with him. But he said, "Father, look, all these years I have been slaving for you, and I have never disobeyed anything you told me to do. And you have never given me even a young goat so I could celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours, who has squandered your property with prostitutes, comes home, you kill the fattened calf for him." "My son," the father said, "you are always with me, and everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate and be glad, because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and has been found." We commonly call this story the story of the prodigal son. And that means that we tend to focus on the younger boy and his rebelliousness, his leaving, his experience, and his return. I believe that doing that leaves out the central message of the parable. Remember, Jesus sets this story up, and he can set it up any way he wants to. He has complete control over his stories, just like I do. I tell them the way I want to tell them. And that people are always coming up to me and say, "Did that really happen?" What kind of a question is that? I mean, do you think people went up to Jesus and said, "Did that really happen?" In this story, the Father is obviously God. But if we look carefully, we can't help but notice that in this story, the elder brother and who he represents, and the younger brother and who he represents. It's easy to overlook the context for this story. The chapter begins with who Jesus is telling this story to. Listen to this. Now, the tax collectors and sinners were all gathering around to hear him. But the Pharisees and the teachers of the law muttered, "This man welcomes sinners and eats with them." There is no mention that there are any disciples in the audience. There are two groups of people here: the Pharisees and the teachers of the law, and the tax collectors and sinners. It's also easy to overlook why Jesus told the story. And again, I beg you to remember, he can set it up any way he wants to. And he can make it end any way he wants to. So what is the purpose? First, notice there are two distinct groups of people listening: tax collectors and sinners. Obviously, each group is represented by one of the sons. It is critically important to pay attention to the fact that in this story, both groups are lost. Now, I'm saying something important to you. Here are two altogether different approaches to life. You have the morally perfect, law-abiding, praying, self-righteous, religious Pharisees. And you have the profligates, the immoral, self-seeking people who don't obey the rules and who are only interested in doing what pleases them. Both of these groups are lost, church. No, if you've missed that, which is easy to do, you don't understand what Jesus was trying to do in this parable.